I'm Scott Laningham for DeveloperWorks. I'm joined today by Phaedra Boinodiris. Let me tell you about Phaedra. She's a member of IBM's Academy of Technology and the Cloud Game Development Ecosystem Principal at IBM. Before she came to IBM, she was CEO and founder at WomenGamers.com. She created one of the largest women's gaming portals on the internet, attracting more than 500,000 unique visitors per month. She received press coverage by the Wall Street Journal, BBC World, NPR, and more than 30 others. And Women in Games International recognized Phaedra as one of the top 100 women in the games industry. Phaedra, welcome.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. I mean, hearing all of that about you, I knew some of that, having worked with you a little bit. But reading more about you, what a great asset you are to IBM. So glad you're with us.
Pleased to be here.
We want to say right up front that this is not going to be the only time we talk to you, because I'll be knocking on your door and we want to come back to you with some regularity to talk to you about the game space, because clearly game design, game creation is not only something that's here to stay and is not going away, but it's the breadth of what it touches in our experience with technology is just broadening all the time, isn't it?
Most definitely. This space has evolved so quickly. Serious games are when you use games to do more than entertain. And what we ended up doing in earnest when we first incubated this program was we focused on two major areas: using games for marketing and using games to help train people. If you think about games for entertainment, very popular ones that are out on the market, you think of games like Warcraft or StarCraft,
right?
The Civilization series. These games are incredibly adept at explaining complex systems. So what we did is we recognized this and started to use games to help explain the systems that we sell, not only in terms of using them as vehicles to help market, but also, again, to help onboard and train new employees to IBM. That's how we started. Then we recognize that there's so many other things you can do with games in addition to those things, especially when you start to integrate real data and real processes within games, which is what the technology enables you to do today. There's an incredible confluence of technology today. So using games to do things like recruit, assess, solve complex problems, optimize missions and processes, even transform cultures, which is what we've been doing for a wide number of customers. And certainly with the advent of cognitive computing, the intersection of cognitive computing, in particular with Watson in games, has just opened the aperture with regards to the different kinds of games which can be developed today and the kinds of things that they can do.
It's interesting to hear you describe it that way, because I'm a musician. I think you know that. And I have these conversations so often with people about how music is this great universal language. I mean, not that there's one kind of music. There's so many languages within music, but that it has such a powerful way of bridging divides and providing a common platform for cooperation, and games really kind of occupy a similar space, don't they?
Absolutely. If you think about the nature of games, it's centers around play. It centers around having a safe place to fail, and a place that engages you to experiment, to try new things, to put on new hats, try different roles, envision the world in a different way. There's an incredible amount of games that have just been created to help influence people, to get them to think differently. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, the main focus of games is really motivational design. How do you engage people?
With that setup, maybe you could kind of hint at some of the things that are in the works and what's going to be happening at Interconnect with you.
Interconnect is going to be big, baby, big. Be there, be square.
That's right.
We've got, for example, a game arcade, which is going to be at the @dev site on the Expo floor. So you can see some of the super cool games for entertainment and serious games that our business partners and customers have created using Watson on Bluemix. And some of these have won awards. They are so cool. So I really if you can, go and play and meet with the developers there, because they're awesome people. Also, we've got a game design lab, which is being run by my colleague Porter Stowell. He is awesome. And basically what he's going to do is walk you through the methodology for how you approach game design. And it's going to be a really hands-on session. There's going to be two more labs that introduce different recipes for how to integrate services within games, in particular the cognitive computing services. I'm going to be doing a lightning talk on the intersection of cognitive computing and games as part of the Expo Hall. And then we're going to have a ginormous booth right in the middle of the Expo Hall showcasing that secret project you and I were talking about. And we've got a main stage presence on day 3, green lawn talking about the Unity 3D gaming engines and our plans for that. It's going to be cool. So definitely go.
Phaedra and I intersected around this story that she had been working on and participating in as a chief contact for IBM. John Connolly High School in Austin is a school for at-risk youth, and a teacher at that high school, David Conover, runs a serious games and game programming, game design class, right? And we got to go and visit that class and see this great work that they've been doing. They had a summer project. He brought the kids together. They incorporated Minecraft. They incorporated Lego Mindstorm, Watson APIs through IBM Bluemix, all in a process of building an environment that simulates the human body being attacked by disease and how they could develop some systems and ways to combat the disease. It's a great story about not only all this technology being utilized by some youth that people might assume it would be less likely that they would see these solutions coming from this group of kids, but also the way it's engaging and exciting these young people to pursue this area of programming and technology and to think broadly, but not by ignoring their love for games, but building upon that love in the first place, right?
Absolutely right. And you don't need me for this interview. You got it.
No. That's just your lead in, honey.
The one thing I would add is their level of enthusiasm. When you walk into that classroom, they're saying, we're learning this for us. We're not learning this for a grade. And they've got, they're just inspired to do this on their own, maybe to start their own businesses. I've never seen anything like it. And really, it's a story about using games as a mechanism to really get these kids excited about STEM and to give them their first taste, their first introduction into cognitive computing. So it's such a great hero story. And listening to these kids and talking to them about their own personal experiences and what they want to do with it, there's some wonderful stories that came out of it, just side stories listening to these kids.
Do you think it's a leap for me to think that game design and creation and programming as a whole have this intersection, really, that very well may be the key to our next generation of innovators and programmers, and that the pool of possibility of participation is going to be far larger if more David Conovers are doing more things like he's doing at Connolly. Would you say that's a leap?
No, I wouldn't say it is a lead. I think it's absolutely spot on. You're not the only one to be a true believer in this. In fact, the White House was it the day before yesterday, also made this statement, right, about next generation innovation using gameplay as a mechanism to encourage kids into STEM. They want to see more of it. They want to see kids doing more development, not just users of technology. And what better way to encourage kids into coding, into development, than using something they already love? That's how I got into this space.
But is there anything that you want to say to the audience about points of engagement with IBM if you're interested in all of this?
Yes, definitely. So what we're working on now is we're creating a game development ecosystem on Bloomix, which means we're creating recipes, enablement materials so that developers can create next generation games using modular content, right? So same thing with this medical Minecraft project is we created a recipe, not just for Connolly High School to be able to follow, but for high schools, universities around the world to be able to follow. And we're cranking out more and more of these recipes. So if recipe building for next generation game design is of interest to you, contact me because I will hook you up. But also know that one of the couple of announcements we've got, we're going to be announcing the creation of an SDK for the Unity gaming engine, such that when Unity, if you don't know, Unity 3D is the most popular gaming engine in the world. So they've got about 1.5 million active developers using this engine. And what we're doing is we're making it a lot easier for game developers to integrate into cognitive computing services on Bloomix, so that when you're in the game engine environment and you're developing your next generation city sim game, you can just pull directly from an asset library to be able to access Watson services on Bloomix. We're making it easier. We have raised funding to be able to do this SDK for the Unreal gaming engine. And in 2016, we've got our site squarely set on VR and AR, right? So that if you want to make games, next generation engaging applications for VR and AR, we want to be able to create an ecosystem that can help support that. So if any of this is of interest to you, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Thank you for listening, and thank you, Phaedra, so much for your time with us today.
My pleasure, Scott. Thanks for the invite.